Back to that breaking news. The Coast Guard says they will soon suspend the search for two missing local boaters at sunset. 57-year-old Randall Spivey and his nephew, 33-year-old Brandon Billmeyer, went missing during a fishing trip 90 miles off the coast of Marco Island and have not been seen since Friday. This is Wink News at 5:30. I'm Emma Heaton. The rescue efforts, one of the largest in the region's history, will wrap up soon. Sunset happens in just about 10 minutes at 5:40 p.m. Wink News anchor Russ McCaskey joins us live once again from Iona, where the pair took off from. Russ.
Emma and Zoe, we can tell you that in this press release that came from the Coast Guard, which you were just mentioning, we broke the news right off the top of the hour that they're going to suspend the search. They go into great detail about the very difficult decision that goes into making that call that they are not going to continue on with the search. They also do mention that the FBI is going to take over a missing persons investigation with this case. So we hope to have more information about all that as more time goes by. Meantime, the family, we've talked to them, and they're in conversations right now trying to figure out their next steps, and once they decide how they want to proceed, we'll bring that information to you as well. Let's bring in Wink News safety and security analyst Rich Kolko, his former FBI agent, a Navy fighter pilot. Let's talk a little bit about the situation, our Navy pilot, I should say. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the difficult process of making that decision that the Coast Guard has to go through when they say we're not going to continue on with the search.
Well, Russ, as we mentioned several times, search and rescue is the bread and butter of the U.S. Coast Guard. They do this on a daily basis across the country and in every waterway that there is. So over time, they build up statistics, facts, and understanding of how long these searches should go on for. And what they've done here is they've analyzed the situation. They've taken a look at how large the area is, how long the men have been missing, and they made a very, very difficult decision. When I was in the Navy, I had the opportunity to search for several boats. I never had to search for an actual person in the water, but somebody I worked with, Commander Mike Olds, who's now retired from the Navy, several years ago, there was a submarine, a U.S. submarine, and it submerged. There were 3 men up in what's called the conning tower. When that boat submerged, those men were floating, and Mike was launched in a Navy P-3 to search for them. They found one of the men alive. They found the clothing of the other 2 men, and he talked to me about how difficult it is to make that decision to suspend the search.
I believe that would be a tough call. In fact, our search went on for, I believe it was 3 days. Now you're possibly doing you go from a rescue to a recovery mission. You want to obviously recover any kind of bodies. So that may dictate why you go on longer to try to, retrieve a body for the family. So it's possible that, even though it's been some time, they could still be out there, and you want to try to recover at that point.
And Mike was involved in that search for that 3-day period. Very, very difficult. And as I said, they did have the good news of recovering one of the Navy sailors alive, but the other 2, they told me they recovered the clothing. So that shows that the men were doing everything they could to try and stay alive, staying afloat. But certainly very, very difficult. And I know that the Coast Guard had to work on this decision today, and we'll find out from the family what they want to try and do, because we know that that last flight, that last boat going out is very devastating to the family, and they still want everything that can be done to be done.
And the FBI also going to, I guess, participate some in the investigation, calling it a missing persons case.
Yeah, once they've left the U.S. territorial waters, which they did past the 12-mile point, not unusual, but not necessarily common. But the FBI, wants to do that missing persons report. They've had an opportunity to check that boat out, see if there's anything suspicious. I don't have any answers to that at this point, but they'll cover that investigative portion of this now.
All right, Rich, thanks. Of course, we're going to continue to follow this. If there's any updates, if the family decides they would like to decide how they want to proceed, we're going to bring that information to you. For now, reporting live from the Iona area of Fort Myers with Rich Kolko, I'm Russ McCaskey. Let's send it back to the studio.